you mind if I say a few words? Thank you.
The royal family and the armed forces have had a public relations love-in recently. Sensing the opportunity to improve the standing of both organisations, they had Harry and William doing the training and getting the badges for jobs that they'll never actually do. Photo calls were organised, the boys are painted heroic, and it all looked like they were really going to pull it off, until they reverted to type and blew all that great PR. Salt of the earth, men of the people, don't get to take a £35 million helicopter taxi to a party and bill us 15 grand for the trip. Our two humble heroes needed to get to a stag do on the Isle of Wight. They could hear the hoorays braying from Lincolnshire, and so William flew a Chinook, a helicopter that's as big as a mansion and sounds like the Big Bang, to London to pick up Harry. Then off to the Isle of Wight to get bladdered, eh? The chopper was flown back to base by his co-pilot, who wasn't invited. Not the right sort, maybe. One doesn't fraternise with one's driver. Chinooks, by the way, are in short supply in Afghanistan, but they don't have good parties there, so who cares? The RAF, caught in the full press glare, spluttered something about, "Oh, we knew all along, it was part of his training, he needed to get practice over water," and blah, blah, blah. They must think we're stupid. As though anyone else would be allowed a one-way flight, picking up a mate to get to a party. But what could they do? Reprimand him? That's hardly likely. He could shoot the squadron mascot and serve it for dinner and they still wouldn't say boo. The RAF said that the flight was a great success. Wills performed very well. But if there's another party that might take a few hours to drive to in the near future, he might just need a bit more practice. We swallowed that from the RAF whole, didn't we? Yeah, we knew all along, and, yeah, it was a part of his training. He needed to fly over water. How far is it from, the edge of, Britain, mainland, to the Isle of Wight? How much water is that? Raj is immediately, furiously looking that up on the internet. Look at that boy go. It's such a blur I can barely see him.
It's 49 metres.
49 metres. Is exactly right, yes. 49 metres, that's right, you can pretty much jump it. Given a poll. 0845 6060 973. Let's talk about parking. No, just kidding. Let's see if I get a call other than somebody who wants to moan about driving. What do you reckon, Rod? No chance, right? Urinals are to be installed on passenger aircraft to cut the queues for lavatories. What a brilliant idea. The one-man units will be set up in cubicles alongside conventional lavatories. It's hard to actually imagine that they could get a lavatory on a plane smaller than it already is. But that's the plan, is to make them actually smaller so that more people will be able to avail themselves of the facilities. It could even lead to separate ladies' and gents' facilities, which I would imagine women would be thrilled about. Wasn't it you who said that you wouldn't go to the toilet on a plane because you didn't know what people were done in it?
Well, I just don't trust that many people can be hygienic,
right,
and that there aren't, after being contained in a tin can for so many hours,
yes,
that they can still remain clean.
Right. That their aim would remain true. Well, you've got a good point. The design by German manufacturers Dassel Interiors could be seen on many major commercial aircraft, including the A380 Airbus, which is that giant double-decker thing that sounds as... When it came over, when they did that inaugural flight, it sounded quiet. Significantly quieter than any other plane that flies over where I live. And I thought at the time, they must have stripped absolutely everything out of the inside of this plane to make the inaugural flight a tremendous success, and people would be looking at each other and nodding up and down. Of course, isn't it quiet? I bet they ripped everything out of the inside to make it as light as they possibly could. I think it takes more fuel to make it quieter. I might have that completely wrong. Most things I say on this show are. But I think it actually uses more fuel the quieter they go, as though there's some sort of, like Hogwarts sound cloaking device that they use. But that would be a great step forward. Even you might consider using that, Raj? On a long... Did you actually not go to the loo all the way to America? It's like 8 hours.
On the way there, I was fine. On the way back, I was fine. And then we had to get to the tarmac, and I'd been drinking all the free drinks they'd been giving me to keep me quiet.
Right. Well, this would have come in handy. Urinals, I believe that they're going to be installing them in first class first, and in economy They'll be putting a gutter in the aisle down the middle of the plane. People with aisle seats will not actually have to stand up. All part of the service. IKEA is 21 today. Yeah, 21 today. I was talking about this chap just the other day. Ingvar Kamprad. 81 years old. And only the Star had this today. I mean, IKEA is a part of the landscape of this country, and you think that most people have shopped there for something or other, and if not actually bought anything, nicked the free pencil. You'd think that most of the newspapers would have said to something. I mean, if it was a McDonald's birthday, they would have said something, right? Ingvar Kamprad, 81, launched the firm in 1943, came up with the idea of a flat pack after struggling to cram a table into a car boot. His pal remarked how much easier it would be if the legs were taken off. Well, that would just be a board. Not so much a table, more like a board. But then pack the legs with the board, and hey presto, you got a table when you get it home. Now the self-assembly empire stretches to 246 stores in 36 countries, with living rooms all over the world, stuffed with their sofas, bookcases and storage units. Did you know that the first Big Brother house was stuffed to the gunnels with IKEA furniture? That's what that was. They've certainly upped their game since then. And the quality of the people inside has deteriorated in direct proportion to the quality of the furniture that they're sitting on. The first winner... I was just reading about him today because the sad story of the woman that he donated his money to has just died. But the first guy, you know, the chippy, the bricky, whatever he was, the only nice person to ever have walked out of that house, gave all of his winnings to a woman with a medical condition. I can't remember the name of it. He just gave her his winnings so that she could go to America and get the treatment that she needed. How fantastic is that? And ever since, we've had... and we've barely heard a word from him. He never appears in the tabloids, right? But not one word. Jade Goody, no end. We get what we deserve. A perfect reflection. It's like holding a mirror up to this country. People who do good, get out of the way. There's a woman over there with big boobs who doesn't know where Essex is. Now the self-assembly empire... I read that bit. Ingvar made up the name IKEA from his initials. His name's Ingvar Kamprad, I-K, and then E for Elmturrid, the farm where he grew up, and A for Agunnaryd, his home village. Around practically 40 million visitors flock to the IKEA in the UK every year. That's 110,000 a day. And that's the reason that you're in a queue. Every time you go there, there's 110,000 people in front of you, and the foods. Who goes to IKEA for food?
Then they sell meatballs there or something.
Yeah, meatballs, hot dogs, strange biscuits you've never seen before, crisps, which are strangely Moorish,
and other great Swedish delicacies.
Yeah, I think they sprinkle crack on them. Boss Ingvar is worth, guess how much?
$40 billion.
Always overestimate. Just to make the actual figure seem small. £15 billion. He's the fourth richest man in the world.
That's $30 billion, so I wasn't that far off.
I'm sorry, but we can only deal in pounds. There's an exchange rate.
OK, £20 billion.
I find that incredible. You go to IKEA and the stuff's so cheap, you think, how are they making a profit on this? I mean, if they're selling a three-piece suite for £5, where's the profit margin in that? And how does that extrapolate to this guy being worth £15 billion? How do they do it? He is the fourth richest man in the world, quite possibly the tightest man in the world. He still drives a 15-year-old Volvo, flies EasyJet, and gets £6 haircuts. His home, I think he lives in a bungalow in Switzerland, mind, to avail himself of their positive tax regime. But I think all of the furniture in his house is from IKEA, which he has assembled himself. Well, that's borderline nuts, isn't it? I mean, he's worth £15 billion, and he's sitting on IKEA furniture. There can't be another billionaire in the world that's got a piece of IKEA in their house.
You could destroy his whole house with an Allen key.
I'll come back with more of this, which is, oh, look, it's really energising this audience. They're calling it in their droves. 0845 6060 973. You don't have to wait for me to give you a topic. You can just call on, anything that's occurred to you during the day, or just sit there and wait long enough, and I'll mention the word car, and then you can all call in at once. 7:45. LBC Travel with Amanda Redmond.
Well, looking still at...
It's a good idea to get someone else's opinion.
This person, Eddie, in Ealing. Oh, Eddie.
Hi, Nick, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, talking about mobile phones on airplanes. You talked about it a couple of nights ago, about they're bringing in the new technology, and so you can, use the mobile phones on the airplane.
Yeah.
They must be spending quite a bit on technology.
They do what? Sorry, you broke up there.
So they must be spending quite a bit of money on this new technology.
Well, apparently it's a small transmitter that's in the tail of the plane, so that the phone doesn't have to work that hard to get to the ground, so the signal isn't so strong that it will drop your plane out the air like an iron.
So unless they put this technology in, we can't use mobile phones on the planes at the moment, is that correct?
Well, some people have got a signal on a plane, but they're connecting with an aerial on the ground. And that's the problem, because the signal has to, the phone has to work really hard. And they say, incredible as it might seem, that a tiny little mobile phone will be able to disrupt the the £100 million controls.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, though, the technology is not there at the moment to use a mobile phone on the plane, is it?
I don't know, mate.
But that's what they're saying. That's what I keep hearing on your news. They're about they're putting in the new technology and everything.
Yeah.
But you've seen the film Short Change, haven't you?
Short Change. Who's in that?
About 9/11, about the conspiracy.
Oh yeah.
And they said on there, well, why these airlines spend now? Now after 9/11, why are they spending all this money on this new technology to put into airplanes so they can use the mobile phones on the plane? If at the time of 9/11 they actually could use mobile phones anyway, because people had actually made those phone calls on the airplanes at the 9/11.
That's right, but they were connecting to aerials on the ground, like I said.
But Short Change was saying that at 30,000 feet you cannot get a signal. I mean, you can't even hardly get a signal in London, let alone that far.
Oh, right, okay. The conspiracy theory that the people on the planes were making phone calls to their loved ones, which, right enough, is apparently what happened. But if the airlines are saying that you can't do that, it's not physically possible. But I don't think they're saying that it's not physically possible. They're saying that please don't do it because we all might crash.
Right, okay. Oh, by the way, so about IKEA?
Yeah.
That's like a Swedish company, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, you ever been there to, buy things and that? And a lot of their things are made in China. How does that work?
Everything's made in China. 30% of everything that we consume is made in China.
That's right.
30%.
But IKEA is supposed to be a Swedish company, so that's what, you're saying, how can they do their products so cheaply and make a profit? That's how they do it, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's made in China, like everything else that we buy, yeah. Because, and it's not their fault, it's our fault, because we insist that everything that we buy is cheaper than it would be possible to make here.
Yeah. Last point I want to make, I've been meaning to ring you for a long time about, is the government and about this environment and that, and taxing us on 4x4s and trying to get us to use biodiesels and things.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're really if global warming is really coming in and everything, and we're at a crisis point, well, why don't they just bring in law and say from year X, only cars of a certain cc are allowed to be driven on the roads or come into production, or all cars have to be hybrid cars.
Because I suppose there's two reasons. First, the motor industry isn't geared up to do that yet. Three reasons. The second is that the oil business would cough up a lung and probably hire a hitman.
Exactly.
And and the third reason is that they can always reserve the option to fine us by, whatever means, for breaking whatever rule they bring in. If they make it such that you can't do anything but do the right thing, then there's no opportunity for them to fine us. But that was 3 things, Eddie, and I'm afraid it's only 1 thing per patient.
That's great. Great
All right.
show.
Cheers.
Thank you very much, Nick.
Ta-da.
Bye.
GPs are actually saying that now. Did you hear that? GPs are saying only 1 problem per patient. I've got that somewhere. Price of food, house prices, Japan food shortage, Brazil's biofuels fiasco, useless degrees, taxing drivers by the mile, MP3s, you get 1 million songs on one of them, the Chav Father, backseat drivers, Gordon Defence Premiership, vitamins equals death. Isn't that great? Vitamins equals death. Having taken them for a year upon endless year and stopped them cold, I went cold turkey, man. And had no effects whatsoever from having stopped taking them for year and year and year. And that was complete. I might as well just set fire to my money. Prince William copped a taxi, read about that. The Underground Tube announcements, the Guinness Village, IKEA, weather. Where is it? What was I looking for?
Doctors saying only 1 ailment per person.
GP's rationing. There you go. Always right at the very end. Family doctors have put up signs in surgeries banning patients from discussing more than 1 ailment per appointment. Now, I don't know about you, but every time I go to the GP, I've got about 10 things, most of which I forget. And then when I'm coming, I go, there was just those other 1, 2 things. So these days, I write down everything before I go, just so I won't forget. I go in there with a script. Doctors argue that appointments run behind schedule. I still don't know what it is. Schedule. They run behind when they are confronted with the worried well, reading out lists of sometimes frivolous medical complaints, often researched on the internet. Yeah, that's me. This weekend, the Department of Health condemned the restriction, said it should be withdrawn. It said GPs, who earn an average of £110,000 a year...
What?
...were paid enough to make time to listen to patients who have more than 1 illness. Yeah, I'll say. Department of Health actually sticking up for us, can you believe it? The department advised patients who encountered the restriction to complain to their National Health Service Trust. There's record investment going into GP practices, and the public who pay for the NHS rightly expect the service to respond to their needs and concerns. James, a GP in Dorset, said he disagreed with the policy that patients should be allowed to raise all their ailments because they might not know which one's the most serious. This is actually this is a good point here, because if you come in with 10 things and you can only remember 7 of them, and the one that is actually serious is way back on your list and you forget about that, then that'll be the one that kills you on the way home. A classic example would be a patient saying, "I've a rash on my neck, I've an ingrown toenail, etc., and I also have a crushing chest pain." We obviously want to focus on the chest pain, but that's how patients sometimes present their illnesses, he said. If patients are only allowed to discuss one issue, they may say that the illness that's really bothering them at the moment is their ingrown toenail. See, because we don't know which is the more serious until we present them all, and he gets to churn them about. Critics of the policy also point out that the role of the family doctor is to care for a patient's health, in general, and not to focus on single conditions. Can you believe that? We gave them a 50% pay rise, something like that. They work 3 hours a week, and after a 2-week wait to see them, they'll only talk to us about one thing. Shocking. Here is Belsize Park. Steve.
Mobile phones.
Mobile phones on planes.
And the reason they work is that they put a mini cell on the plane.
Yeah.
Which therefore allows the phone to work. And they can charge you for it. So it's like using your phone abroad. Except that rather than charging you 35p a minute, they charge you £5 a minute, whatever it is.
Right.
So
Well, I hope that they charge an enormous amount, because I just can't imagine anything worse than being on a plane full of braying people trying to shout over the engine noise that they're on a plane.
Well, they also want to use it for data, of course, so you can plug your laptop into your phone and charge you huge amounts of money. But
Right.
And the other thing, the reason they don't allow you to use mobile phones at the moment is nothing to do with the safety on the plane. It's that when you're coming into land or at sort of taking off or landing,
your mobile phone covers lots of cell sites on the ground. And the network is designed so that when you move between cells, maximum speed you go is 70 miles an hour, that's the speed limit of the UK. So when they program these things to say, when you go from this cell to that cell, it goes at 70 miles per hour. If you're on a plane, you could be, say, visible in London and Leeds at the same time. So you register on two different parts of the network, and the system goes, oh, someone's cloned your phone or something, and it can't cope well with jumping around lots of bits of the network.
I don't believe that's true. They're forever telling you to switch off your phone in a plane, not to do you a favour, but, well, I suppose essentially and eventually to do you a favour, but because it will interfere with the delicate systems on the plane, which seems crazy to me.
Running a phone on...
Oh, Steve, I tell you what, I can only hear like every other word. Use a landline to talk to me about mobile phones, all right. Thanks anyway.
No problem.
Oh, by the way, there's really bad news about driving and talking, or even driving and listening to somebody talk, because he sounded like that's exactly what he was doing. I'm amazed that he actually managed to make it to the end of that call. But don't you find that to be extraordinary, that they tell you to switch off your mobile phone in case you interfere with the delicate instruments of the plane? This giant thing that's as big as a whale that has cost like £300 million can be sent crashing from the skies by a silly little $4.99 mobile phone. I rather suggest they haven't made it very well. They want to nail it together better. 97.3 LBC.
Absolutely.
Here's Banstead. Hello, Chris.
Hi there, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
You said about the mobile phones on planes?
Yeah.
Do you remember that bomber, the old shoe bomber?
Oh, the bearded nutcase with the exploding sandals, yes.
That's him, yeah. Well, you wouldn't have to do that. They just have a pocket full of mobile phones and switch them on.
Well, you'd think so, yeah.
It seems, it's crazy. They work. The plane works okay with mobile phones.
Well, they even ask you to switch your MP3 player off, don't they?
They do, yeah. Well, I think they just do that to stop disturbing other passengers. So it's not true. I think, anyway, that they actually communicate with the ground on mobile phones. Because I don't think they use radios. The actual pilots and the...
Right. Maybe they use semaphore signals. Thanks, Chris.
Okay.
0845 6060 973. Yeah, that's right. The pilots are communicating with the ground by using a mobile phone. Yeah, or they lean out the window and use hand gestures. They write down on a piece of paper, really big writing, mind, and then hold it up. Here is Catford. Hello, Trixie.
Hi.
Trixie.
When I did some programs for Thin Air, for safety videos...
The what?
Thin Air safety videos.
Sinner?
Thin Air.
Thin Air.
Thin Air.
Thin Air, yes. Could they understand what you were saying?
We made these comedy safety videos because so many of these safety videos are boring, so we made some comedy ones.
What do you mean, the thing before you take off? The nearest exit
absolutely.
may be behind you.
We did these comedy ones instead, and they were really quite fun. And we had a mobile phone thing, and then they showed the old panels. You know, that somebody was on a mobile phone, and they had a close-up of the panel. But it was an old plane panel.
What panel?
You know, on the plane, you know, how they work the plane, where the pilots are.
Oh, the cockpit?
Cockpit. Well, yes, that's all right.
Is that what they call it, a panel?
No, I don't know. It's a panel of instruments, isn't it?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you had the old-fashioned technology, they had all these instruments with little dials and levers. And
I'm not sure that you're the best person to do
I'm just saying,
safety video, Trixie. You don't know what you're talking about.
No, I saw it, and they showed them these little instruments going haywire. Okay, back to what else I was talking about.
Oh, yeah, well, the panel, yes.
No, we'll forget about the panel. I think we'll get off that.
Righto.
I think that the idea of urinals in aeroplanes...
Now, can I just stop you there? Urinals or urinals?
Urinals.
Urinals.
I would say urinals. And I would also say schedule.
Right. I know I ask a lot, which it is, and I can never remember what the answer is.
Okay, you ask me questions about pronunciation, and I will endeavour to give you the right answer.
Okay.
Go on, then.
So you think urinals are sexist?
On planes.
Sexist?
What about women? You've got one blooming toilet, and then you've got loads of urinals for guys.
Well, Trixie, you could use a urinal, you just choose not to.
Well, unfortunately, I don't have the appendage to use in a urinal. If I did, I would happily do it.
Right. I thought that they'd invented in for women.
Well,
In fact, they had them at Glastonbury, didn't they?
Yeah, they're a bit fiddly. That's fine if you're stuck in a traffic jam and you want to fill a bottle or something, I suppose. But not in an aeroplane. I don't think so. Anyway, it's very sexist that guys have got lots of facilities and women have got one toilet, as usual.
Moan.
Stop whining.
No. All right, I'll stop whining, okay. Right, vitamins. I've got a couple of...
There never really is. I mean, I've never been on a plane that there's been a gigantic queue for the toilet. You just wait for the little light to go on and those folding doors to open, and then you spring lithely out of your seat and then fall straight down onto the aisle because you haven't moved your legs in the past 3 hours and there's no blood in them.
Oh, gosh. I have been in a queue on an aeroplane, and it is awful. You're standing there like a blooming sardine, and it's not nice. And you go in there...
And everyone knows what you're doing.
Ew. Not nice. Anyway, back to vitamins. On my desktop here, it's got vitamin E may extend life in Alzheimer's patients.
Right.
Uh-huh. And then natural antioxidant slows Parkinson's.
Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Can you believe that now they're saying that vitamins are going to kill you?
Shall I tell you what I think
I
happened?
give up.
No, what may have happened is this. Vitamin E and vitamin A are fat-soluble. Now, if you take too much of any fat-soluble vitamin, it's dangerous because it builds up in the liver. All right? You know that, don't you?
I do now.
Good. All right. If you take water-soluble vitamins like vitamin C, vitamin B, they will be flushed through the system. However, my doctor in Finland actually warned me, don't take too much vitamin C, because he knew of the case of a woman whose kidneys became calcified, and she died.
And that's a bad thing?
Well, it's a bad thing if you die, yeah. I've heard it's a bad thing. I don't know.
Right. Is she still dead?
I would assume so. Yes, she may have moved on to a different plane.
Right.
But
a different plane. I wonder if they have urinals.
Perhaps BA or something like that. Or she may be stuck.
It's a fate worse than death.
But yeah.
I think logic dictates that vitamin pills aren't any good for you. If you're going to get vitamins, you should get them through eating the food that they have originally came in.
Now, if you're not able to get the vitamins, I don't think it's bad to take a supplement.
If you're not able?
If you're not able to, if you're ill, or you don't have an appetite. I don't have really very much of an appetite.
Oh, force yourself.
I haven't been well. I'm not going to go over all my illnesses.
Well, I'm not. I'm pleased to hear it.
My appetite is low, and my doctor said, look, take a multivitamin tablet. You're obviously not getting enough magnesium.
Right, he's trying to do you in.
Hmm?
He just wants rid of you, Trixie.
No.
No, you're quite right. But if people rely on vitamin pills to give them the goodness that they would eat, had they been eating, fruit and vegetables and stuff like that, oily fish and all that manner of business, then you're fooling yourselves.
Yeah,
how can you crunch it down into a pill and still gain the same benefits? It's nonsense.
Well, it's nonsense, but it's a good backup if you haven't got a good diet.
Right.
However, I suspect that the people who've been dying early and have been taking too much vitamin A and vitamin E have poisoned themselves, or they've been taking the vitamins instead of doing exercise as well.
Right.
See, they haven't had such a healthy lifestyle. They've been just taking those and then...
And then expecting that to do the job. Yeah, you might be right.
Yes, and then pretending they've had a healthy life.
Yes. OK, well, thanks for that, Trixie, and I hope you get a shot of whatever it is that ails you.
Oh, you're so sweet. I hope you get shot of everything that ails you.
OK, cheers, my dear. 0845 6060 973. Popular vitamin supplements taken by millions of people in the hope of improving their health may do no good and could increase the risk of death. When you take a pill of any kind, you look at aspirin, and the things that it could possibly do to you will make you run a mile. So never read those little instructions that come with the pills that you're taking, because it'll say, may cause headaches, dizziness, a rash. It may cause you to fall asleep without warning, and in some cases may lead to anything up to a death. So don't worry, just take a fistful. Popular vitamin supplements may kill you. They warn that healthy people who take antioxidant supplements, including vitamins A and E, to try to keep diseases such as cancer at bay, are interfering with the natural body defences and may be increasing the risk of an early death by 16%. And having read this thing a little while ago, I was doing a lot about statistics. Now, every time I see a percentage, like they just released the crime statistics, they've gone down by whatever percentage they just told us. And I'm thinking, yeah, right, sure they did. I don't believe any statistics of any kind now. But I'll carry on. There's some more here. About 12 million Britons supplement their diets with vitamins, and the industry is worth £330 million. But little research has been done on the long-term health implications. I rattle that I've taken so many vitamins. I've taken them for decades. Every day. The pill, like a horse would have trouble swallowing it. And I used to go for the one that had 10,000% of your recommended daily allowance. So I thought, oh, that would be much better. The Danish research, released by the influential Cochrane Library, applied only to synthetic supplements and not to vitamins that occur naturally in vegetables and fruit. Well, of course. It found that vitamin A supplements increase the risk of death by 16%, beta-carotene by 7%, vitamin E by 4%. Although the review found no significant detrimental effect caused by vitamin C, it found no evidence that it helped ward off the disease. Millions are taking it in the hope of avoiding a common cold. You might as well just throw your money out the window. A chap who led the review said we could find no evidence to support taking antioxidant supplements to reduce the risk of dying earlier in healthy people or patients with various diseases. If anything, people in trial groups, given the antioxidants, beta-carotene, vitamin A and vitamin E, showed increased rates of mortality. A spokesman for the Health Supplements Information Service said, it's 8:14. LBC Travel with Karen Mercer.
Well, on the train...
Hello. Hello, 0845 6060 973. Here's one in Camden. Hello, Brian.
Hello, Nick.
Brian.
I like your programme very much.
Oh,
I hope I'm not changing the subject, but I wanted to speak to you about this because it might be interesting for your listeners.
Yeah, go on.
I had a letter from a lady in Spain who instructed me in this letter, which was very well written, that she was an executive in a bank, and a person that had a very large amount of money in this bank had died in a train smash in Spain somewhere, and he had the same surname as me, and apparently all his family were wiped out, and she stated that if I was willing to stand up and pretend I was a relative, that I could inherit this money.
And pretend you were a relative?
Pardon?
She asked you to pretend?
Well, yes, exactly. I mean, I've got no relatives in Spain.
Right.
And she said if I was to step up to the plate and say that I was a relative or a distant relative, I could inherit this money, and that she and her husband, who she states that she herself, her husband, and myself are the only three people that knew about this, and she advised me to keep it between us, that if I got in touch with them and stated through them that I was a relative of this person with the same surname as myself, was a relative, that I would eventually inherit this large amount of money, which we would then split.
How much are they talking about?
It was down. I can't remember now because I got it yesterday, and of course I binned it last night. I just I threw out all my my letter, my sort
Rubbish.
of papers and things.
Yeah.
But I've been thinking about it ever since, and I wanted to speak about it to somebody because I'm sure they must have done this to other people with a
So
different
you got this not by email, but through the post?
Just come through the post.
Right.
When I saw it, it had a Spanish stamp on it, and I holiday in Spain quite a lot. And, of course, when I saw the Spanish stamp from Madrid, it had my name, my postcode and everything,
Yeah.
and my flat number and everything. And I thought, oh, maybe it's from, because I go to Spain quite a lot, as I say, and I go to the same hotel often, and they send me Christmas cards and whatnot. So I thought I wasn't a bit suspicious when I received, opening it. I thought maybe it's just to say, I hope you're coming next year or whatever.
Yeah, please, we're desperate, yeah.
But it was this scam, well, what I presume was a scam. Because,
so what would the I don't understand the scam part. Were they asking you to front money, or?
Well, they didn't actually ask me to at the end of the letter, I had to ring her husband for further information.
Right.
But not to divulge it to anybody else, because her husband and herself and I were the only three people that knew about this.
Was it a landline or one of these numbers which charge you £3 a minute?
I think it was a landline.
Right.
And it came from Madrid.
Yeah.
And
but they weren't asking for your bank details, or
no, they didn't. No, but I'm sure that would have, thinking like what they were thinking. If I'd have seen that would probably have thrown me off the scent anyway. But because it was how it was worded, and because it was so it was all typewritten, and it was very intensive about these people, you know, and it was just sort of like it was drawing me in, I think.
Well, I've never heard of anything like that. I mean, my email account is under a deluge of if it's not offering to increase the reach of various parts of me, then it's asking for I don't read them anymore, to be honest. I bought a killer spam program, and it doesn't allow anything through. Even people I know can't get through now.
No, that's probably the reason why I say that they didn't say that, because they probably realised that people would know that. If you're asking for anyone's bank statement, or
alarm bells ring.
They would probably know that you would think that. But because the way it was worded, and it was signed in pen as well, name was signed in pen at the end.
And it wasn't, and it was a personal letter to you. It wasn't dear.
No, it was all my details were on it.
Are you in the phone book? Could they have got your name and address from there? I mean, did they put your name and address as it appears in the phone book?
Well, it's possible.
Did they use your first name?
Well, they knew. They had my initial.
Right.
And my name, and of course the person who's died in this supposed crane smash in southern Spain somewhere, and and of course all his family were killed as well, and there was no one left. Apparently, because he had the same. He had a very, very strange Christian.
Yeah, really. What? Okay.
He had the same surname as me.
Yeah.
And they wanted me to
go and get the money, and then they'd split it.
Huh. And I thought it would be interesting to know if anyone else had been asked to do the same thing with perhaps a different surname.
Yeah.
Like a Jones or a Smith, or had done the same thing because the strange thing is too that I got two letters exactly the same. I got on the same day. I got two identical letters stating the same.
Right.
So obviously
they made a little mistake there.
So it's obviously been printed out and addressed.
But the efforts that people will go to avoid work are incredible, aren't they?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And
it seems like it would be easier just to go out and get a job.
I'm thinking now if I should have taken it down to the Spanish embassy and given it to them to ask if they could investigate these people.
Yeah, you could do, if you've got a spare
Well, it
afternoon, I
obviously came from
suppose.
Spain because it had a Madrid stamp on it.
Yeah. OK, well, I'll throw it out there and we'll see what we get back. All right.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, Brian.
Bye.
In fact, I think we've got one almost immediately. Park Lane. Hello, Samir.
Yes, hi.
Samir.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Right, I'm emphasizing with the gentleman who just called.
Yeah.
And apparently I've got the same letter. And around 2 days ago, I got the same letter, but which he wanted my bank account.
Right. So somebody that has the same surname as you died in Spain.
Yes,
and they
I
want
have
to.
Spain at all.
Okay.
Apparently, the family comes from Egypt, not English family.
Right.
So, and I got the same letter, and 2 days later, which I never responded to them, but because I just felt it was a con, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Then straight away, 2 days later, I got the same letter, but with it's a bit extended, asking for my details, so can they put it in and everything.
Huh.
And that's where I'll share the same money. I was going to get something like 70 grand out of it.
Well, that's nice work if you can get it.
Yes. Yes, and, well, I'm sure now it's a con. Luckily, I've never asked.
Right. OK, well, thanks for that, Samir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Cheers, mate. 0845 6060 973. It must be something like 99% of all emails sent in the world. Well, no, I'll back off. 90% of all emails sent in the world are cons. Fake medicine, fake things to, improve the, area of a gentleman. And the rest is, I'm a banker in Uganda that needs to move £1 billion. Do you mind if I use your bank account and I'll give you $1 million? All that rubbish.
I wonder how many people fall for that, though, and hand over their details.
Well, you think that they're trying it, they're putting such a lot of effort into it. It must be the rule of hundreds. Like 1 in 100 people will read it, 1 in 100 of those people will respond, and 1 in 100 of those people will respond successfully enough to actually get back to the person that sent it. So if they're sending out millions, well, it must be quite, it's like trawling for fish, isn't it? I mean, it's a pretty wide net, but you're going to catch something. It must actually be easier than going out and getting a job. Kenley. Hello, Tony.
Hello, mate. No, it was just to say on the same subject, my business partner got exactly the same letter through the post today from Spain.
Yeah.
Not asking for any details, but I think he showed it to me. I said, don't be stupid. And I think he was talking about 8.5 million euros or something, but so it's obviously going, and as the other chap said, if you ring it up, you probably get charged £50 a minute for the phone call or whatever. And I think it was a landline rather than a mobile.
Right.
And I think they even gave a fax. They gave a fax number as well. But
well, I'm curious now. I wonder what would actually happen if you responded. Because if it's a landline and not one of these what do they call them? A non...
Premium rate.
Yeah, like a premium rate line, yeah. They call them a non... I can't remember. Anyway.
Honest.
Yeah. Premium rate line.
Yeah.
Then that's how they make their money. But if it's not a premium rate line, if it's just an actual bloke's phone, then I wonder what would happen if you called him.
Good question, but I think he's binned it now as well.
Right, okay. All right, cheers, Tony.
Cheers, bye.
0845 6060 973. So what would happen, do you reckon?
I'm sure in most cases the landline is connects you through an international something or another, so it charges you an international rate. And I'm pretty sure the scam with fax numbers is that as soon as they get your fax number, they like reverse the charge and send you 50 sheets of fax or whatever.
But they can't reverse the charge, surely?
I think there are ways of doing it.
Really? I'd take my fax out. It's in the cupboard now because as soon as the world knows you have a fax machine, they send you adverts for everything under the sun at the worst time of the day, like 3 o'clock in the morning. The phone's going, and you've got an ad for I don't know, save money on your premium rate phone calls or just all that rubbish. I unplugged it, and after a while, when the same old people just keep calling you up and up and up. And they don't get a fax machine anymore. They just get an answering machine. I think their little machine coughs up along and they just remove your number from the directory. Fax machines, they've got to go.
I can't believe people still use fax machines in the day of emails and scanning.
Yeah. Some people insist on it. Some people also insist on checks. Come on, people. Step into the 80s. It's 0845 6060 973. The weather. We can expect much less of the same, apparently. I'll do that when I come back. I also have more fascinating facts about IKEA, which is 21 today, and whose birthday was only celebrated by the Your Super Soaraway star today. You'd think that all of the papers would have got in on it. Maybe they will realise their mistake and do their thing tomorrow. I bet that they will. And the village that they shot the Guinness ad in, guess what they don't sell there? LBC 97.3, it's 8:30. LBC 97.3, I'm Nick Abbott, back after the news, it's 8:30.
Fabulous.
Hi, we're doing a How Lower auction at the moment. This is one of these reverse auctions. The person with the lowest unique bid wins, and the thing to bid on is an HP laptop. It's just the very thing. It's state-of-the-art. A gigabyte of RAM on board, 120 gigabyte hard drive.
It is so hard.
Wireless capability, DVD is in it. It's got the lot. It could be yours for pennies. To bid, text LBC plus your bid in pence to 88821. If you wanted to bid, 9 pence, it would be LBC 9 to 88821. Bids cost £1.50 plus your standard network rate. Lines close 7 p.m. Thursday, 17th of April. Bidders must be over 16. lbc.co.uk for full terms and conditions. Good luck. Let's have South Kensington. Matthew.
Hi, Nick.
Matthew.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
About this Spanish lottery thing, which is entertaining everybody. My mother's husband got one through the post, addressed to him personally. And it was, he'd won the lottery, the Spanish lottery.
Really?
Yeah, so I said, well, I think it's quite unusual that you could win the Spanish lottery without actually buying a ticket, but...
it seems generous of them, yeah.
It's very generous, yeah, it was like €1 million or something. So, this letter was stamped all over, the Bank of Spain, Spanish government stamp, Inland Revenue, Spanish stamp, Winterthur, which is a big Spanish insurance company, Banco de Santander, which is a big Spanish bank, all very official, just really over the top. And
right.
So I Googled it.
Yeah.
And you get this list. Well, eventually I got this list of Spanish scams, internet scams. There's the dead relative scam, the dead client scam, the Spanish lottery scam, I don't know, the Spanish ham scam or whatever.
Oh, the ham scam, my favourite.
Yeah, the ham scam.
Ooh, so yummy.
There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. And they're all scams, of course.
Right, and so presumably they wanted his bank account details?
No, I don't know how they do it, but I suppose once you get in touch with them, they get you somehow.
Right.
I think with the lottery one, they ask for a payment to cover the taxes or something.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. So you never hear from them again.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if it was a premium rate phone number or what, but they've got, once they get their claws into you, and then if you actually answer them, apparently they put you on a mug list.
Yeah. I'm sure they do, yes.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for the warning there, Matthew.
Okay.
Cheers, mate. 0845 6060 973. So they're sending it in the post now. I can understand that they just spray emails around the world because that doesn't cost anything. But they're now sending it via the mail. I mean, that suggests that there's a big organisation because it's not cheap to send a letter from Spain here. Hell, it's not even cheap to send a letter from here, from where I'm sitting, to where you're sitting, Raj. Costs a bloomin' fortune. So to send one from Spain, and to send hundreds of thousands from Spain, I mean, it's organised crime, isn't it? It's not just some bloke in his underwear tapping away at his typewriter in his little attic. It's, the mafia, or whatever the Spanish equivalent is. El Mafioso. It's a call in St Albans. Mickey! Hey, Mickey.
Oh, I thought you might dig that out. Scams.
Yes.
I had a nice one from BMW.
Not actual BMW?
No.
No.
Unfortunately. I won a car, a nice, I think it was a 7 Series, 750.
Nice.
I was most disappointed when I realised it was a scam. And I also had a long-running battle with PayPal.
PayPal?
Yeah. Used them once, and after that, my credit card number changed, yeah? And I started getting emails from supposedly PayPal saying that my account had been raided.
I get those all the time. It doesn't have anything to do with PayPal. It's just people pretending. I mean, I get them from Nationwide and from the Halifax and every kind of bank that you've ever heard of, and PayPal.
Well,
and they all say
I had was the Royal Bank. Coots, the Royal Bank, which is now owned by the Royal Bank of Scotland. I went to the trouble of phoning them because I didn't know their email address as such.
Yeah, a butler answered. Yes.
And not quite. They just said, forward them on, please, to the Royal Bank of Scotland. Well, I've been doing it with PayPal for ages, just forwarding them on, and I always got a thank you back. I never got nothing from the Royal Bank of Scotland, but they were purported to come from somebody called John Williams at the Royal Bank of... Coots Royal Bank, and there was some money that they wanted to put in my account or something like that.
It's mine, that money.
But
can you just forward it to me?
Yeah, apparently a lot of these spoof emails and that, they come from Nigeria, I've been told.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know.
John Williams, that's a very suspicious name. I'll be watching for that. Thanks a lot, Ricky. Yeah, I can't think of a single bank that I've not had a supposed message from that says... like I said, I've stopped reading them. I bought the world's most vicious spam killer. People that I know don't get through now. It's like I've walled myself in. And they say, your details need updating. Or PayPal will say, your payment didn't go through for the following item. Please click on this. It's like, forget it. Unless you're actually expecting something, just don't even open it. I would suggest getting a spam filter, a really nasty one. Because you go away on holiday. It's like I went away on holiday for 2 weeks, and I come back, and there's something like, I have like 1,000 emails. And if you also have an email account at work, and I've got 2 works, you've also got to go through 1,000 emails on those as well, and they're all like, there's a letter at reception that hasn't got an address on it. Or does anybody have a work experience person for the afternoon? Stuff like that. Got a Nokia charger. Dagenham, hello, Mark.
Hello, Nick, how you doing?
All right.
Jolly good. A couple of things. I tend to get people phoning me up about mobile phones. They say, do you want this mobile phone? You've been selected for this, you've been selected for that. And I'll just wind them up. I'll go, that's fantastic. Yeah, we got this deal. Yeah, I'll have it. Got that deal. Yeah, I'll have it. Right, and I'll just give them such a load of old spill. And they sit there and get all excited. And I'll sit there halfway through giving them some of my details. I'll cut them off. And then they phone me back about 500 times.
I bet.
And they're trying to get through, and I'll just leave them.
Well, I suppose if you've got the time.
Well, I'll turn around and say, what's your address? I say, number 1, the Mall. And they go, what's your name? I said, Mr. Windsor. And things like that, and they get all excited. But at the end of the day, what can you do? I mean, you sit there and you're going to get them all the time, international calls all the time. The thing about, talking about credit cards, I'm a bailiff, and I get a hell of a lot of people phoning up, and they give me credit card details, and 2 months down the line, you get some bloke from Germany, phones up and says, or basically turns and says, look, that's my credit card. It happens quite a lot.
Really?
And it seems to be African people. My observations.
All right, thanks very much, Mark.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, ta-da. I like the, I don't. I like the, at least you don't have to spend any time on the line with calls that are a message. The phone rings, you pick it up and there's a silence. And you think, oh yeah, okay, there we go. And then it clicks, and then it's always a woman's voice that says, hello, like she's a robot. Do you know that there are advantages in... Click. Deptford, Dean.
Hi, good evening.
Hey, Dean.
Hi. Quite recently I've had scams through my email inbox as well, my spam inbox.
Yeah.
And it's claiming to be coming from eBay.
That's right, yeah, I get those too.
You get those too, yeah.
They'll say something like, the item that you've recently bought, there's a problem. Can you update your details? Something like that.
I've had, slightly different. I've had, they'll ask a question to the seller. I've had that come up, and I'm saying, oh, you owe so much in eBay charges.
Yeah.
Please pay here, something like that. I've also had the PayPal scam coming through, quite a few. I've even had one saying, through like a job site, saying, if you want to register this, you need to call this number, and do quite a few things. But I think my advice is, like you said earlier, that there's such a huge net. Unfortunately, a few people do actually follow the bait as such.
Well, yeah, you'd think, but you wouldn't think there would be that many. You wouldn't think it would hardly be worth them while.
Well,
but I suppose that there's, there's no end of...
Well, I suppose that since everything's all automated on the internet, especially, it wouldn't really take too much time, and you can reach...
Too much effort, yeah, you're right. Which is why this Spain thing is bizarre, that they're actually writing stuff down on paper, putting it in an envelope, and going to the trouble of stamping it all over.
Yeah, I was actually quite surprised. Maybe if they actually saved that money, they wouldn't actually have to...
Yes. Yeah, you think so. All right.
I wanted to make a quick bit of advice before you go to
on.
the news. Just basically just to check the browser, really. So far it is who it said it is.
Well, the eBay ones and some of the PayPal ones, they look like the actual address. It says click here, and then you hover your little mouse over it, and you can see where it's going to go at the bottom of the page. It tells you what that is a link to, and it looks like the actual site.
Well, it does, but I would actually go into your main account just to make sure they tally. If they don't tally, then you can see it's a scam.
Right. Okay, thanks, Dean.
Okay, thanks very much.
Cheers. Ta-ra. It's kind of like those, these aren't scams, but they were just irritating. If you ever get on the list of some organisation that has one of these prize draws, and they say all you have to do is fill in this form, and you will be automatically put into the draw for £500,000, and you send it off. What the hell? It's just the price of a stay. It's a free post thing. You just send it off. How could you lose? You can lose because they'll send something, but I don't really know why they do this. What's the point? It just seems irritating. But they'll send something back that's like about a half-inch thick, and you have to take the sticker off the front and put it on an envelope if you do want a free alarm radio, and then take the key out of the little thing and put it in the envelope, and then sign the back, not the front, and then put it in with the voucher that comes in another part of the envelope, and oh my God, what is this like, it's like one of those, competence, tests to see whether you can fly fast jet planes. Maddening. I'll never read that little magazine again. 8:44. Karen Mercer has LBC Travel.
Everything is going extremely well.
If you haven't seen Spamalot, by the way, then we have an opportunity for you to win tickets to go and see it. Spamalot is the Monty Python show. It's on at the Palace Theatre. It's supposed to be fantastic. I'm going to go and see this myself in a couple of weeks' time. I'm very much looking forward to that. It's got Alan Dale in it at the moment as the lead. He's the chap that was in most famously in Neighbours, but he was also in Lost and 24 and Ugly Betty. Is there a good show that he hasn't actually been in? So Alan Dale in Monty Python's Spamalot. For your chance to win tickets, listen to Steve Allen, Tuesday the 29th of April. He's here from 5 a.m. So that's Tuesday the 29th of April. Steve Allen from 5, and you can win tickets to go and see Spamalot. Lewisham, hello, Ben.
Hello, is that Nick?
Yes, Ben.
Hello there. I just tuned in just as I was out, and I heard you talking about spam emails.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I do get quite a few, Spamalot, good link. But the ones I really, really enjoy are the ones that generally come from African countries, where they're claiming that they've got, so many million Ugandan dollars, for example, that's waiting in the bank vault for you.
I've only ever heard of those, that I haven't actually received one of those personally.
Well, I can certainly forward you a couple if you want.
Oh, that'd be great, yeah.
But what I tend to do is I'll keep those going for as long as I can.
Well,
so I'll let the guy think that I'm actually interested.
Yeah.
And there was one guy I had going for a couple of weeks, or guy, could have been anyone, and I had him going for 2 weeks, 2 solid weeks of emails daily, 3 or 4 a day, going back and forth, where I was just being completely incompetent in being able to give him the details he wanted and requesting more details from him.
Right.
And he was all lovely and polite to start with, and these were like, they send out the blanket ones, which is, they probably send it to thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah.
And they might get 2 or 3 responses back, one of which was probably mine.
Yeah.
But playing the blithering idiot, how do I go about this? I do understand, blah, blah, blah. And it kept him going for absolutely ages, to the point where he started off so polite with his response emails, by the end of it, he was practically calling me an idiot.
You know what? It occurs to me that we could put a stop to this within about a week. If we all did exactly what you've done, we would overwhelm them with responses, and they wouldn't know which were serious and which were just winding them up, and they'd go out of business really quickly.
Well, there was another one I did where, it was the same sort of thing, but didn't have necessarily the time. So I took all the spam from my spam inbox, if you like, my junk email folder, and put it on a direct forward to this email that I received it to. So he's probably consistently now getting everything that ever comes into my inbox straight into his.
See, we do have the power as individuals. If we just decided to do, like, and you think, oh, well, we'd never get it going because, we'd need to sort of all agree to do this at the same time. But look at Rick Astley, for instance.
Yeah.
Where on earth did that come from?
How do you mean? Sorry, I don't know that story.
There's a thing called Rick rolling, which gained its maximum momentum on April Fool's Day. Previous to that, people had been, as a joke, forwarding links to sites that people had requested, and they'd forward it to Rick Astley singing "Never Gonna Give You Up."
All right.
And then this sort of caught on, bizarrely, and more people started doing it, and they called it Rick rolling. And then on April the 1st, I think, was it Google or... No, it was YouTube, made all of its links go to Rick Astley singing "I'm Never Gonna Give You Up." And now if you look at YouTube, he's had something like getting on for 15 million hits on that video.
It's just the way these things happen, they just grow and grow. That's what the internet is.
Exactly. And so if we decided we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore, and we did exactly what you do, and we just wound these people up, which I guess is exactly what the chap previously was saying when they call him up at the house.
Yeah.
If we took matters into our own hands, we could wipe this out by Christmas.
Do watch, it's Dom Jolly. He's got the Complainers programme.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
That was on, I don't know what night it's on, but he specifically is going to target junk emailers.
Right.
So if you get a chance to watch it, do watch it.
Yeah, okay, I will do, yeah. Because the first series that he did, a long time ago for Channel 4, whatever it was called, the Dom Jolly Show, what was that called?
Where he just, there's various sketches and he just takes it out of people. This one...
People in rabbit suits having sex in the cinema, that sort of thing.
It's nothing like that. This is him specifically. All the things that we sit and moan and gripe about, he's taken up. So he took on wheel clampers last week, and he clamped their van as they were clamping a car of his, and then he walked away and said, well, we'll pay my fine and I might pay yours. And,
right.
It is good, and he's specifically doing the junk emailers. So.
Okay, good. Well, I'll look out for it. Thanks very much, Ben.
All right then, Nick.
Cheers, ta-ra.
Good night.
Let's have Wilston Green. Hello, Elizabeth.
Hi, Nick.
Elizabeth. Good, thanks.
I really enjoy your show. I think you're the funniest of the LBC presenters.
Oh, thanks, Mum.
One of the things I wanted to talk about was the vitamins debate and all this ridiculous nonsense about how they do these trials, because I don't think you can trust them at all. And also, we don't know what dosages they use. And things like that, and there's plenty of evidence to counter them, so I don't trust them in the first instance. But what I was really wanting to address was this idea that, you can get everything you need from a healthy diet.
Right.
I mean, I think most people probably don't know that you'd have to eat about 10 tomatoes, supermarket tomatoes, to get the goodness of one tomato that had been grown naturally during the 1950s.
And it... I wouldn't I would imagine that's true. Plus, the tomato that was grown in the 1950s would taste like tomato.
Exactly, and not just like water.
Yeah.
So, I think, the fact is no one eats 10 tomatoes anyway. No one eats one tomato anyway.
No, I buy them, and then they sit in my fridge until I pull them out and they're mouldy, and then I have to throw them away.
And they're tasteless and horrible.
Yeah.
So, this kind of, sort of idyllic situation where we all get what we need from a healthy diet is just nonsense. So I think a lot of people do need supplements. And I really hate the way that these scare stories sort of feed into... people thinking, oh, well, I mustn't take responsibility for my own health, and, without kind of wanting to be cuckoo about it. I think it just feeds into all the pharmaceutical companies.
Well, yeah, I suppose so, but it doesn't... I took vitamin pills for a really long time, and when I sort of thought about it, I thought there's no way that you can squeeze the goodness of apples and berries and nuts and whatever it might be into a pill that's supposed to give you everything that you need from your diet. I mean, you look at the ingredients on it, and it says it has 100% of the recommended daily allowance of everything.
But that's why they're supplements, Nick. You're not supposed to take, like a space age scenario, take a little pill and your health will be okay.
Right.
They're just to make up for deficiencies that you're not getting in your diet.
Yeah, I suppose so. But then, if they're saying, and you're quite right, in the article that I've read, they didn't actually say how much they were giving them.
No, well, they don't. And the fact is that they give them piffling amounts often. So when they come up with vitamin C does not help colds or fight infection, they're giving them, 60 milligrams, which is what you'd get from, a sort of a general multivitamin. Whereas what you really need to do for a therapeutic effect is to take enough until you reach what's called bowel tolerance.
Oh, lovely.
I thought you'd like that.
Bowel tolerance?
Yeah.
I hesitate to ask.
Well, that's the therapeutic dosage, because when you reach bowel tolerance, then your body just gets rid of what you don't need.
Right.
You have to work up to that amount to see how much you need.
Well, it doesn't sound a very safe method of going about it, though. Take as much as... That's
if you're, you're really ill and you're, really run down things. But, I mean, generally speaking, the amount of vitamin C you can safely take is a hell of a lot higher than what you'll get from a vitamin supplement.
Whenever I've taken those little fizzy vitamin C, well, they're not little, actually, they're huge, those vitamin C tablets that fizz in the glass.
Yeah.
It might not actually be doing me any good, but it feels as though it is. It might just be the sugar rush.
Well, aren't they sweet? They're sweetener, though, aren't they? So it's not even a sugar rush, it's just a false sugar rush. But, no, I'm sure it is. I mean, your immune system has enormous demands made on it. So when you're when you're fighting a cold or whatever, you need loads, more kind of vitamins and minerals, because your body is fighting an invasion of a cold virus.
And the other thing that I have taken in the past when I get or I'm about to get a cold is echinacea. And, of course, they say that doesn't do you any good either.
Well, I think people have to take kind of responsibility and do research into these things, because...
Well, they have done, and you're poo-pooing it, Elizabeth.
Yeah, but because you can find so many other trials and pieces of research. I mean, this is just one piece of research, isn't it? People have been taking vitamin supplements safely for years, and, it's not like taking stroke medication where, the likelihood of people... collapsing from side effects is a lot higher.
Right. I suppose so. If you think it's doing you good, it's probably doing you good.
Possibly. But I think it is doing you good.
Right. Have you ever... So you take the vitamin tablets on a regular basis, right? Have you ever just stopped? You must at some point have just run out.
Yeah, sure.
And there was no effects of stopping taking them at all, right?
Well, I'm probably not the right person to ask, because I was ill for a long period of time, so I'm not I've never been really fighting fit or anything.
Right.
But I'm retraining as a nutritionist, which is why the interest and also why I
I'm going to take that as a no, Elizabeth. You didn't have any bad effects from stopping taking them.
Well, I don't know, because I don't think I've ever stopped taking them for huge periods of time. So I'm not the right person to ask, I'm afraid.
Righto. All right, well, thanks very much.
All right, then.
I hope you are in the best of health.
Cheers, Nick.
Ta-ra.
Bye.
It's 0845 6060 973. Call me about that or anything else that you like. It's LBC 97.3. We're reaching towards the news on LBC.
So they opened their big mouths, and out came talk. Talk, talk.
So the nice man on the news was talking about Wills, call me Wills, Prince William, taking the helicopter, and he said it was a Chinook. But it's spelt Chinook. I always thought it was Chinook. Chinook sounds like insider posh talk, doesn't it? Like it's the sort of thing that would show you up at the dinner table if you pronounced it wrong. Like
you did.
Yeah, like Bewley and there's all sorts of posh words that Althrup, spell Althorpe, pronounced Althrup. Ralph, pronounced Rafe. You know,
Magdalen College.
Exactly. Keys College. There's another one. It just doesn't. There's no rhyme or reason to it, other than to catch people out. Non-you people like me and you, Rog. You're non-you.
No, I'm not.
Weybridge, hello, Sean.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Two things. First of all, the thing with these scams, yeah?
Yeah.
You know, we say to ourselves, who would fall for things like that?
Right.
But people do.
People do, yeah.
Well, they wouldn't do it.
That's right.
And, you know, you hear on the news that there was an old woman who had that Euro win, and she ended up giving them £20,000.
Right.
You know, and she was too embarrassed to tell her family, and that's the age group they're getting.
I suppose so, yeah.
It's disgusting, really.
Yeah, it is.
And it affected me because my mother had someone. Well, I thought my mother was quite clued up, you know, and she is. But she had someone in the house, you know, rifling through her things for things to buy. And when I found out about it, the guy had arranged to come back. So I said, fine, let me be there. And I went to the door, answered the door, and he took it at me because he was expecting a little old woman on his own, on her own. And he said, and I said, yeah, you wanted to buy a ring? And he said, yeah. I said, right, give me the cash. He said, hold on, I'm just going back to the car. And off he went.
Right.
Ring the police up. Oh, yes, yes, we've heard about that. No, you know, you tell them they don't want to know. And it's disgusting, because these are the people that, you know, that really did us a big favour a long time ago, and we treat them like dirt.
Yeah, I know.
And, you know, they're the ones that are getting taken in by it.
I suppose so. Yeah, you're right. The weakest of.
Yeah, the old. Yeah. You know, and we have a big debt, and you know, we're letting things like that happen to them. You know, it's often on news. Oh, the man got into an old woman's house, and you know, it's terrible.
Right. Okay. Well, I hope that it all ended well. Thanks very much, Sean. 0845 6060 973. But I think that we've actually come up with an answer here. If we all decided, right, we're not going to stand for this anymore, then we could put these internet email people out of business ourselves. I mean, if they can corral the forces of the internet to bug us on a daily basis, and just to troll for the weak ones who will respond, then we can do the same. We can get back at them. All we have to do is just think it up and do it. Like this Rick Astley thing. I mean, if that can take off, if 15 million people can go watch Rick Astley, never going to give it upping, then we can fight back with with these irritating spam people. It can be done. Elephant Castle. Hello, Dave.
Hello.
Dave.
I've just seen in Elephant and Castle something very positive for London.
Yeah.
It's these guerrilla gardeners.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know whether you've heard of them.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, and they're in Elephant and Castle now. Now, I feel a bit like living in London that I'm in a bit of a police state and that I can't do anything right.
Yes.
And it's nice to see that some people are trying to do something right. But what's hilarious, there were 2 police cars, 4 policemen, giving them a really hard time, filming them really close up with a video camera so they get all their faces. And, you know, where does the positivity start and where does it stop?
Well, it sounds like a very evil bunch of people. What, they're planting flowers?
Yeah, they're planting flowers in Elephant and Castle on the roundabout.
How could they? They need to be terminated with great speed. And presumably the police have cleared up all crime in Elephant and Castle. They've got time to watch people sticking bushes in the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, if you take drugs or sell drugs, you're probably fine. But if you play with a football in the street, you'll be arrested straight away. That's how I feel at the moment.
I know. Well, you, me, and everyone I know. Yeah, you're right. And it's about to get much, much worse.
Yeah, it is. And I think those guys should really get a good round of applause from everybody.
Well, I saw a film, I think it was on the Al Gore's current TV. They did a film about guerrilla guarders. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically a bunch of people who are hippies. Groovy. And they go around sticking shrubs in the ground, where ordinarily it's just a bit of wasteland, right? Whereabouts in Elephant and Castle are they?
Right bang in the middle of the roundabout, that huge roundabout with the horrible advertising board, that silver thing.
See ya, perfect example. They're using their own money to put flower, to beautify up public spaces, is basically what they're doing. Public spaces that have been just left to, well, they're barren.
And they're improving London.
Yes.
Practically with a bit of flowers.
Yeah, they're improving London, and so are receiving close attention from the police.
At this very moment.
Yes. Okay. Thanks for the spy report, Dave.
All right. No
Cheers.
problem. Thank you.
And much luck to the guerrilla gardeners. I think that's fantastic that people do that, don't you? They're actually off their own. It's like people who go and pick up litter, like the Bill Bryson is talking about. We should all, when you see litter, pick it up. There's always going to be morons that drop it, but if more bright people like you were to pick it up, if we exceeded the number of dopes that just drop it on the ground, then we'd all be living in a much better place. It's like I say, we do actually have the power. We sort of mope through life thinking, oh, well, what can I do? Well, we can change the world, if we just think about it. We got 15 million people to watch Rick Astley. No one's done that in a decade. Here is Raynham. Hello, Dan.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, thanks.
Right, I just wanted to say about my uncle had been had over, bearing in mind he was only 52 at the time.
Yeah.
And some people came down to our company and said, oh, we want to do some tarmacking, and we've got a load left over from a previous job, this, that and the other.
Yeah.
And we want £40 to do it. And he said, oh, that's good value, yeah, get on with it. So, along turned another lorry, and one had full of tarmac, and they laid so much tarmac you've never seen before. And he thought, God, this is good value for £40. And then they came in to said, we've finished, and he said, oh, yeah, it's great. And then he said, you owe us £7,500.
What?
He said, no, you said £40. He went, yeah, per metre. And then he turned around, and there was 5 of them in the office at this point, and said, are you calling me a liar? And he's saying, no, but you did say £40. He went, yeah, a metre, and look how many metres we've laid of it. So, for what he thought he was spending £40 on, he's now got a bill for £7,500. And in the end, he said, look, I'm not paying it, you said £40. And they sort of went away, and then they rang up and said, we want to talk to him. And he said he spoke to them on the phone, and they said, unless you pay us, we're going to tie you to the back of our truck. We know where you live. We know what your car is. We're going to come round your house. We're going to talk to your yard. And in the end, he ended up giving them £2,500 to go away.
Right.
And they said, if you go to the police, we know. And that's the other thing. They was going to do all those things if he went to the police or didn't pay.
Lovely.
And we spoke to a couple of people. You sort of don't want to admit it at first, do you? But I think it was better to share it. And we spoke to a few people, and they went, do you know, we've had exactly the same thing, but we never told anyone.
Right. So there's the other thing. If more people told, then the fewer people will get caught subsequently.
Aware,
yes. Yeah. All right, well, thanks for sharing that, Dan.
No problem at all.
Cheers, mate. Ta-ra. I guess if it seems too good to be true, here's the bottom line of it all, isn't it? If it seems too good to be true, it is. Ain't nobody giving nothing for free anymore. Or even for cheap. Even those T-shirts that are £1, jeans for $4.99, they're not cheap either. They might be cheap monetarily, but someone suffered somewhere along the line to get them to you at that price. Barnet, hello, Morel.
Hello, Nick. How you doing?
All right, thanks.
Good. You were talking about elderly people being ripped off, and I was just listening to the last caller.
Yeah.
Horrifying. I don't know if you sort of remember, but a few years ago, the police were giving out stickers, ask for ID, etc., before you open the door to elderly or vulnerable people. I don't think they do it anymore. But they were giving them out, and quite a few homes have still got them. And I actually think they attract people. as well as the genuine tradesmen. As soon as they come to your door, they show you the badge and whatever.
Yeah.
I picked up one of these, being the little old lady I am, and I have had a couple of dodgy people come
You
to the
don't
door
sound like a
for
little
this.
old lady.
No, I'm not, but I just got hold of it. It sounded like a good idea at the time. Please show your ID.
Yeah.
You know, you will not be let in. And the police were giving them out. So I thought, well, I'll have one of those. So I put it in my sort of glass part of my door.
Yeah.
And I haven't had many, and of course you get the genuine traders that sort of come to your door and they see it and they get their badge out and whatever. But I've had a couple of people saying they're from the water board, and when I come to the door, they don't say they're from the water board, but you come to the door, you know they're not water board employees because their face when they see you, and I'm like, yes, and it's like, oh, it's no problem, I've got the wrong house.
Right.
And I have had it a couple of times, and I just think to myself, I've spoken to my neighbours who haven't got it in their door or their window, and they haven't had this. So I think in a way that although the police don't give them out now, a lot of people have still got them, because I see them when I'm going round, and I'm thinking, oh, there's someone that's vulnerable or elderly that lives there.
Yes.
But I'm not a bad person. But that doesn't mean the next person isn't.
But you know what? I mean, the amount of times that I've been shown a badge by, various people, the clipboard people in the street, they'll show you a badge, or people who come to your house, they'll show you a badge. The police will show you a badge. And they just show, you say, can I see your badge? And then they show you and you look at it for the briefest, sometimes you don't even look at it, you look at them showing you it. And then that's it. And so they could be showing you anything, they should be showing you their bus pass.
Yeah, but it's different. If you're letting someone in your house, no matter how old you are, and you don't look at the badge properly and you're not sure, you shouldn't be letting them in the first place.
Yeah, but Morel, you don't know what the badge is supposed to look like. That's the thing, isn't it? It's just a bit of typed, laminated plastic with their picture on it. You've got no idea what it's supposed to look like.
Well, you usually go, I mean, I'm talking really for the... No, that's true, but I'm talking, for the services, like the water or the electricity.
Yeah.
And if I'm not happy, I'll phone. I mean, I would phone. I just phone up and say, I've got this guy, this is his badge number, this is what he looks like, is he from you? And they can wait on the doorstep.
You'd call the water board?
I would do.
You'd be on the phone for days.
No, they're ever so good, actually. If I wasn't happy with someone, like these two guys that turned up, they saw me and fled. But, if I wasn't happy, if someone turned up on my doorstep and I just thought, well, why are you here? I haven't called you. You have no reason to come into my home.
Yeah.
And they were still there, I would phone up. And if they turned out they weren't from whoever, I'd contact the police and say, do you know you've got a couple of fraudsters going around trying to get into people's houses? Absolutely, because the next person...
They'd drop everything and rush to the scene.
Well, no, they're actually quite good, our police. They would, because we have got quite a few elderly people in our area, and they would sort of hunt them down. But
right.
It's
hunt them down.
Hunt them down.
Every outhouse, hen house and dog house. Morel, I've got to go, but thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Cheers, ta-ra. 9:16. LBC Travel with Karen Mercer.
Boys?
The weather. Are none of those people contactable? Got a almost full board and nothing up.
Yeah, they're on their way.
Ah! This time last year, the country was basking in temperatures of almost 80 degrees. You remember that? No. During the hottest April on record it was last year. However, after the heaviest April snowfall for 20 years, freezing temperatures and a series of heavy downpours, forecasters were yesterday predicting a return to old-fashioned British weather.
Oh, no!
Yes. Spring showers followed by wet and warm summer, despite suggestions that global warming could lead to olive groves being planted in Berkshire. Well, then there's another one. Looks like Berkshire, said Berkshire. There's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no A in there. And vineyards are planted in Kent. Little has really changed for our climate, apparently. We're back to good old sunshine and showers over much of the country. We've gone back to traditional British weather. Last April was the warmest since records began, 350 years ago. There was also only 39% of the usual rain. However, this year, the showers are back, and spring rainfall is already 25% above average. You see how it all just... it all balances out in the end. Because we didn't have very much rain 1 year, they would think, oh, well, that's it then. We're never going to get it again. Just wait. Just wait a while. Sun will come. Last spring, the average 24-hour temperature was 48 Fahrenheit. This year it's plummeted to 41 Fahrenheit. The present conditions are not consistent with warmer temperatures predicted by global warming models. Ain't that a surprise? No. So the global warming predicted basically the opposite of what's actually happened. I want my money back. Forecasters are predicting a warm, if very wet, summer. Now, last year, they said... What did they say it was going to be like last year? Didn't they say it was going to be baking hot all the way through? I think that's exactly what they said. Was it?
Then they just give blanket statements like we're going to get colder winters and warmer, hotter summers. And then when it doesn't happen, they say, oh, it's global warming. And then when it does happen, oh, it's global warming.
Something like that. I don't know why they're still in business, the Met Office. I mean, they never get anything right. They don't. I bet they can't tell us what it's going to be like now. I bet if you go to the site... In fact, do that right now. Go to the Met Office site and ask them what the weather in London is now. I bet they've got it wrong. Of course, you'll have to go and stick your head out the window because we're cocooned in here. Forecasts are predicting a warm, if very wet summer. Following the heatwave and drought 2 years ago, there was record rainfall and widespread flooding last year. This summer, there will be a return to a pattern of sunny spells, then rain. Talk about covering yourself. Sunny spells, then rain. Well, yeah, you'd think so. And at night, it'll get darker. The Met Office has said the weather will follow a pattern of 3 fine days and then a thunderstorm. The World Meteorological Organization says temperatures in 2008 are likely to be cooler because of the effects of La Niña, the Pacific current that has a global impact. La Niña caused one of the coldest winters in memory in China, Canada and the Arctic, and also led to torrential rain in Australia. The world has got colder, and it's all thanks to global warming.
What?
Right. Variable cloud, isolated showers at first, feeling cold. Large amounts of cloud, isolated showers gradually dying away, some clear periods developing, light to moderate east-southeast winds continuing. Well, that's probably about right, right? Maybe that was too easy. All they had to do was stick their face out the window, and they'd just type down what it felt like. Tomorrow, mainly dry at first, bright or sunny intervals, but cloud increasing. Perhaps a little rain in places later. Right. If we go through tomorrow and it's dry, I'm never listening to another word they say. Chelmsford, Steve.
Hi, Nick.
Steve.
Yeah, what you need is a rock on a bit of string hanging outside your door. If the rock's wet, it's raining. If the rock's moving, it's windy. If the rock's gone, it's a hurricane.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah, that's an old RAF one, that is, for the Met men in the RAF. Anyway, what I was going to say was, I've been, when I've finished work at night, cycling home, I've been picking up the drinks cans on the way home.
Have you?
Yeah, because price of Alley has gone through the roof at the minute. All the non-ferrous metals, there's a world shortage of
That's right, yeah.
everything.
China.
So I've been picking them up. I took in 10 kilos the other day and got £7.50.
£7.50?
Yeah, so that bought me a drink at the pub, didn't it?
Yeah, just the one.
Yeah.
How many cans is... how many kilos did you say?
10 kilos, just over.
How many cans is that?
I don't know, but it's a Royal Mail sack full.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, I think that's great. You get a pint and a half, and you've done your bits to protect the environment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm picking up between sort of 40 and 70 cans a night, you know,
right.
And I've also found quite a few full ones, you know, not even open, where people have bought the cans, got drunk in the park and left their carrier bag behind, you
That's
know?
like a bonus.
You know? So,
all right,
yeah.
well, you're doing good work. You keep it up, Steve.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks very much.
Easy, mate.
It's like I say, we do have the power to change the world for the better, but we just mope along thinking, oh, well, what can we do? All these emails pouring in, some, poor, aged dope gets, fleeced, but we can stop it. If we replied and wound them up each and every time we got one of these things, or we could do what that other guy does, and I don't quite know how he did it, but he said that he reroutes all of his spam to the people that are sending him spam. Now, of course, if we all did that, then the worldwide wait would grind to a halt. But it seems to be pretty bloomin' slow as it is anyway, so what difference does it make? There's got to be a way in which we can improve life for ourselves, rather than just wait for somebody else to do it for us, which is basically what we do, isn't it? Brilliant idea. Pick up cans, one a day. You stick them in a sack. You sell them. I don't know where you'd sell them. £7.50. Who wouldn't stoop to pick up £7.50? Even the bloke that invented IKEA would stoop to pick. You could get a haircut for that. Hounslow. Hello, Syed.
Hi, Nick. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Metro Terminal 5.
Terminal 5?
Yep. It is brilliant.
Well, okay. You've been there?
I work there.
You work there?
Yep.
As?
Sales assistant.
A sales assistant?
Yep.
Right. What does that mean?
Serving customers on their tills. That's it.
Well, in one of the shops?
Yep.
Oh, okay. What do you sell?
Can I say the shop?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
W.H. Smith.
W.H. Smith. Without mentioning any brand names. That's good. W.H. Smith, you say? Yes.
It is wicked. Terminal 5 is brilliant.
Well, it looks like a nice place.
It is. Have you been there?
No, I haven't. I've only seen it on telly.
Your other mate, what's his name? Raj, he's been there, didn't he?
No, he didn't go to Terminal 5. He went to Terminal 4, I think, yeah.
Oh, the long haul flights on Terminal 4.
Yeah, but I bet it's a nice place to well, apart from all the irate customers, I bet it's a nice place to work, because it looks open and airy and bright, and it's new.
Yeah, it smells new as well.
Smells new. Oh, smell of it.
Smells of...
Terminal?
Terminal 5, yeah.
Yeah. I love the smell of terminals in the morning.
Huh? What's that?
It's all right.
Go on.
Okay, so you recommend it as an experience?
Yep.
Right. Of course, you haven't flown from there.
I have flown from there as well.
Like I said, you've flown from there as well.
Yep.
I knew that.
Yeah.
So how was that?
Brilliant. Our bags didn't get lost.
They didn't get lost?
Yep.
Right. And where did you fly to?
I flew to Sweden.
Sweden?
Yep.
Very nice.
Went to IKEA. Bought a few chairs, broke it, and put it back.
Of course you did. All right. Okay, well, thanks for the
insight.
Yeah, the insight, yes. Exactly right, yeah. How insightful. I was thinking that as you were speaking. Speaking of IKEA, by the way, it is IKEA's 21st birthday. Only one paper, I can't believe it, one paper chose to celebrate this fact. Despite the, really, I mean, IKEA has changed the way that people buy furniture in this country. Before IKEA came along, and you could lump Conrad into this as well, we were all buying the same sort of furniture as our grandparents. Overstuffed, rounded sofas in paisley and flowery material, and basically household furniture hadn't moved on. Meanwhile, people in Sweden were having hot 6-foot blonde sex with each other on beds made of plywood, or whatever they make it from. What do they make it from? Cardboard.
And other such woods.
Yeah. It was clean and square, as opposed to fusty and rounded, which is what, old British furniture is. So it was revolutionary, is the thing. And it brought furniture, or the possibility of buying new furniture, into, as a possibility to people who previously couldn't afford it. Stumbling over myself. I think this show needs to be flat-packed, and you should assemble this show. Have you got an Allen key?
No.
But they provided some interesting facts, 21 in all, about IKEA, so I might get to those in a bit. 97.3 LBC, 9:30.
Do you like me?
J.K. Rowling is in court in New York, right, trying to stop this guy living in his flat from... You can talk about this, can't you? Worried look on your face, Raj.
It's just because you're talking about Harry Potter.
Oh. Why, you a fan?
No.
How can you not be? How can you not like Harry Potter?
Well, do you remember when I was explaining...
curmudgeonly old geezer, you.
No, but do you remember when I was explaining my reasons for not watching the film?
No.
Because it's beyond the realm of just stupid and unbelievable and has no sense to it whatsoever. And I was proven right by the fact that Hogwarts has a hospital. There's a hospital wing in Hogwarts. Why not use magic? It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Can you hear yourself?
Yeah, but what's his name? I forget his name.
Harry?
No, the main wizard. The headmaster of Hogwarts.
Stumblebum?
That's the one, we'll call him that. Dumbledore. That's it. He's like 10,000 years old, and he's bandaging people up.
Yeah.
And you think, well, in 10,000 years, you must have learnt some magic, right? Give him a tap with your wand.
Do you see, ladies and gentlemen, what I have to deal with here? On a daily basis. It's shocking. I'm due compensation, I think. Well, what kind of films do you watch that are rooted in reality?
Die Hard.
Right. I rest my face. Anyway, she's over there, and she burst into tears. There's pictures of her in tears. But the background is that she's fighting to protect her little coterie of wizards and warlocks and, whatever else is underneath the floorboards from some nerd in an attic who published a guide to her work, which involves a lexicon of everything that was in the books, right? Now, keep in mind that J.K. Rowling, a British, not institution, it's like the Queen Mother, she was a... sounds like gas is escaping from me, like an old balloon. She's like a... We love you, J.K. That's more or less it, right? Mentally, I'm not really here today. I mean, the show's going on around me, I can hear it way off in the distance. Some people are talking. But I don't seem to be here. And it's all your fault, Raj. It's about time that you took responsibility for what I say. She's made £545 million from Harry Potter. And she burst into tears in the courtroom and said it's very difficult for someone who's not a writer to understand the unfathomable depths of my pain. I think you're laying it on a bit thick, aren't you, dear? Let's have Farnborough. Hello, Graham.
Hi, Nick. Nice to talk to you.
Yes, Graham.
I've got to say, before I say anything else, Raj is a bit out of order there. Harry Potter does exist. I know. I've got a picture of him on my wall.
There you are. Proof positive.
Proof positive.
Graham, are we on speakerphone?
No. It's it sounded a bit bad.
Terrible.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Worst phone ever.
But it's one of those... it come from the guy who invented IKEA. It's one of his mates. Who invented this phone.
Right.
Yeah. But the only thing I want to say is a little question. You know, Gordon Brown spoke today and he was the loudest voice in New York about nobody really elected Robert Mugabe into power. Well, I just wonder who elected Gordon Brown.
Well, that was exactly my thought when I heard him say it, yeah.
It was just a question, you know.
Yes. All right, well put. Thanks very much, Graham.
And you, thanks very much. Cheers.
Get a new phone. 0845 6060 973. Yes, Gordon Brown's been saying a lot lately. I didn't realise, but he's actually gone to America. And he went to America on the very same day, I believe, that the Pope arrived in America. And everybody was concentrating on the Pope. And the Pope was, he was saying...
I'm very sorry that I screwed up. Totally I mean, I am so sorry. You just don't know how sorry I am. I'm sorry.
That was a recording of the Pope yesterday. And so George Bush was out there meeting the Pope.
Absolutely.
And it's almost like he forgot that Gordon was coming. Gordon was just standing there in just outside of arrivals, looking at his watch, expecting to get picked up. Nobody even knew he was there. And there was a picture of him looking desolate in a television studio, sitting there all on his own. Oh, everybody was concentrating on something else. He just can't catch a break, can he? Gordon Brown was forced to defend his premiership, and in particular his economic record yesterday, as he faced mounting criticism over the credit crisis, as the biggest mortgage lenders snubbed his calls to reduce the cost of borrowing. That's right. He asked them all to give us a break. The central bank has reduced interest rates. Would you mind passing it on? Pretty please with sugar on top. And they wouldn't even take his call. It's like completely ignoring him, like he's not there. As the biggest mortgage lender snubbed his calls to reduce the cost of borrowing, the Prime Minister gave a series of interviews to insist he was just starting the job. Amid criticism of his handling of the economy, Mr Brown disclosed that he had turned to his predecessor, Tony Blair, for advice on how to turn around his premiership. And Tony Blair said... I bet that was a phone call he didn't want to make. Oh. So 845 6060 973. Here's the IKEA thing, who, like I say, are celebrating their birthday today. It's founded by this guy called Ingvar Kamprad. He's got to be one of the weirdest rich people that's currently alive. I think he's the fourth richest person in the world. And if I asked you what his name... I mean, you could probably name the other three, right? Bill Gates.
Warren Buffett.
Probably Warren Buffett would be in there. Steve Allen? Didn't Steve Allen invent Microsoft with Bill Gates?
Yeah, but I don't think he's one of the world's richest.
Two nerdy hippies who got together in a garage somewhere and suddenly they own all the money that Donald Trump doesn't own. How annoying is that? And they came up with something that's been frustrating people until recently. Every time you switched on your computer, it crashed, right? They just only lately have seemed to have sorted that out. He gets a £6 haircut. He drives a 15-year-old car. In fact, I think he was driving an old Volvo until it collapsed, and then he replaced it with... I'm not sure, but I believe I read that he'd replaced it with a larder. He's got £15 billion in the bank. He's the fourth richest man in the world. He flies on EasyJet, and his haircuts cost £6. All of the furniture in his tiny house came from IKEA, and he assembled them himself. I mean, that's just plain weird, isn't it? I mean, that's just willfully strange. He was recently refused entry to a gala evening where he was to collect a business award after the doormen saw him arrive on a bus. They wouldn't let him in. An estimated 1 in 10 Europeans have been conceived on an IKEA bed. IKEA caused a furore. Now, is it furore or furore?
I say furore.
That wasn't even in the list of options.
I know, but that's because you're wrong and mine was right.
IKEA caused a furore in 1998 with adverts urging Brits to stop being so English. Hundreds rang in to the Independent Television Commission complaining of racism, and it led to the launch of an I Hate IKEA website. Hundreds of people rang in to the ITC to complain of racism because of those adverts. I mean, can you remember those that said stop being so English? Well, basically, it was asking us to stop, like I say, buying furniture that our grandparents used to enjoy. Stop living in the 1950s. Sweep in the corner every now and again. You know, live cleanly like the Swedes do. And if we could eventually look like they do, that'd be worth going for, wouldn't it, Rog?
Absolutely.
In 2002, 26-year-old mum Linda Douglas from Norwich named her baby girl IKEA Jasmine. IKEA Jasmine Douglas. In the film Fight Club, IKEA was satirised as representing everything lacking soul or substance in society. Singer Kanye West, 30. Why has his age got anything to do with anything? If he was a woman, well, it would be very strange indeed. But if he was, they'd also say what colour his hair is. Kanye West, 30, rapped about the Swedish shop in his song Last Call, singing, "We went to IKEA, I bought a bed. I put the bed together myself." Oh, genius. That Kanye West. What a poet. Shakespeare, hang your head in shame. 191 million catalogues are printed around the world every year, 20 million going to the UK. Its circulation is higher than that of the Bible. That's a hell of a lot of trees. 20 million, almost 200 million catalogues. Where do they get the paper for that from? And that's a direct question to you, right? Can you look that up?
Yeah.
UK customers got through 12,317,184 free pencils last year. They must be responsible for... I mean, they make pencils out of wood, right? Or paper.
And some bits of lead.
Bits of lead, yeah. European customers have stumped up for a staggering £19.8 billion of sales last year. What? I mean, they sell tables for like 30 quid. How on earth can we be spending that much money?
Because we're all suckers for
a deal.
IKEA.
Yeah. IKEA was forced to close its 10 Dutch branches after a number of explosives were found in stores in 2002. The firm was accused of exploiting child labour at factories which supply it in the Philippines and Vietnam. A stampede of 6,000 bargain hunters wrecked the opening of Europe's biggest store in Edmonton, North London, when they rioted in 2005. 6 people were injured and punches thrown in a mass brawl. Yeah, it sounds like Edmonton. Frantic shoppers even dumped their cars on the nearby North Circular to join the queue. You crazy lunatics, you. They're practically giving this stuff away at full price. Anyway, that's IKEA from top to bottom. Anything else you need to know, please write it on a letter and pop it in the post. I'll give you my bank details by return. It's 9:44. We see trouble with Karen Mercer.
Well, the M4 was supposed to shut at 9 o'clock.
What this guy thinks.
No!
Let me just remind you about our How Low auction, which is going on at the moment and closes 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. This one is for a HP laptop. It's one of these things that does pretty much everything you would need. It's got a DVD rewriter in it. It has a very large hard drive, 120 gigabytes you can squeeze into there. 1 gigabyte RAM. I've got no idea what that is. But it's got one. And you can play CDs, DVDs. It pretty much does a lot. It connects wirelessly, as you would expect. It's one of these things that's a reverse auction. The person with the lowest unique bid wins. You could win it for a penny if you bid that, and nobody else does. If you were to bid 98 pence, for instance, you would text LBC plus your bid in pence to 88821. It would be LBC 98 to 88821. The bid will cost you £1.50 plus your standard network rate. Lines closed 7 p.m. Thursday, 17th April. Bidders must be over 16. See the website lbc.co.uk for full terms and conditions. And good luck. What Nick was saying in the trail just now is absolutely right, and it's something that I've thought for a little while. If it's not good to talk on mobile phones in the car, then it's not good to talk at all. I mean, when I'm wandering along the street talking on a mobile phone, I don't know about you, but I have to stop talking just across the street, because otherwise I can't do two things at once. I can't listen to the radio and read at the same time. I have to have complete silence. And so if I'm going to cross the street or, do anything that involves life or death, then I have to stop talking while I'm doing it. And by extension, you'd think that the same would apply to driving a car. The worst is when you're sitting there and somebody is talking to you, they're driving, and they're one of these people that, when they're talking, they have to look at you when they're talking. And so they're driving, but they're actually looking at you, not just saying things looking at you, but waiting for your response while still looking at you as you're travelling along. That drives me nuts. And so I find myself looking out the window twice as hard as though to make up. Anyway, nobody likes listening to a backseat driver, it says here. Now, a study has shown how a nagging passenger could put your vehicle in danger. Unfortunately, the same goes for listening to your favourite tunes on the car stereo. Research has found that motorists who listen to any kind of conversation while at the wheel, whether from a passenger or the radio, can have their driving performance seriously disrupted. The study showed that being talked to can cause the driver's brain to concentrate on the road ahead 37% less than if he wasn't being talked to. According to research published in the journal Brain Research, I think I need to I need to be looked at. Can't think of what the word is. Subscription. My subscription has lapsed to brain research. Oh, forget it. The human brain struggles to cope when it has to listen to a conversation and drive at the same time, apparently. The US psychologist's study set out to investigate how drivers cope with multitasking at the wheel, to assess how tasks such as listening to a conversation and using a mobile phone affect safety on the road. Using brain scans, researchers investigated the impact on brain activity of having to listen to and understand language, when also performing a simulated driving task at the same time. Driving and listening are two different activities known to draw on different parts of the brain, but the study's authors said that one can impact on the other. Well, that's just common sense, isn't it? I mean, if you're driving and something dreadful happens on the road ahead, or you have a near miss, or, you know, something happens, then you stop listening to what anybody's saying. So you can't process both things at the same time. Am I right, Raj? Yes, Nick, You're absolutely right. Well said. When compared with tests on undisturbed drivers, there was a 37% decrease in accuracy. One of the research team from Carnegie Mellon University, hey, they named it after a fruit, said this new data raises an obvious point in that if the simple task of listening degrades one's driving, other common driving activities could also cause degradation, from listening or tuning into a radio station, to eating or drinking, to monitoring children or pets. All these distractions can cause problems for the driver and others on the road. Well, I know that there's certain kinds of music that make you drive faster, like listening to classical music or ambient music will make you drive more calmly. Listening to Van Halen rock and roll will make you speed up a little bit, blasting away from the lights. As David Lee Roth goes, wow, like that. Well, you're just keeping up. But I had no idea that listening to somebody talking on the radio can actually make you careen off and hit a passing tree. Well, I don't know, officer. The tree was coming in the other direction. Blindsided me. So that's not very good news for us, really, is it? Shortly, we will be against the law and come with fines.
That would just make us even more appealing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. To the kids, yeah. They'll be all in the park late at night. Bottle of cider, LBC radio. Breaking the law. London Underground have been breaking the law, apparently. How irritating is it when you're on the platform, particularly in Earl's Court seems to be the absolute worst for this. They'll announce something like every 10 seconds, really loudly. They've just got a new PA system in there. And some guy who, I don't know, talk about loving the sound of your own voice. They just do not shut up. Please move from the edge of the platform for your own safety. Please understand that you can't smoke on any part of London Underground. Please be advised that the next train pulling into the platform is for Upminster. Please be advised that the platform on the opposite side is for Wimbledon. Please be advised that there is a 2-minute gap in the service. And it just doesn't stop. On and on and on, like he's auditioning for music radio. Painful. And so the people that have to live near it, can you imagine what their life must be like? Well, they took them to court and they won. Good thing too. Now maybe they'll shut up. Underground bosses have been ordered to pay £115,000 after losing a legal battle over excessively noisy tube announcements. Residents near Earl's Court had complained that the station's public address system made their lives a misery and kept them awake at night with up to 70 messages an hour that were often needless. Not often, always. Transport for London will pay legal costs after it lost its appeal against council noise abatement order. Appeal? Why would they appeal? Campaigners today welcomed the court ruling, said it had set a precedent for the 72 other ground-level tube stations that have caused complaints, but they accused TfL of wasting taxpayers' money and taking the case to court. But they don't care because it's not their money. It's always the way, isn't it? If it's our money, then they'll take the case as far as they can go. Kensington and Chelsea Council issued the noise order against the TfL in April last year, after residents asked for the PA system's volume to be turned down. Perfectly reasonable. And they said no. What kind of people are they? TfL appealed, arguing that the announcements were vital for passenger safety. Another one of these. It's like the health and safety freaks are out again. And I've stood on that platform, and you try and read, do a crossword, something like that, and you can't concentrate because every 10 seconds there's the booming voice of somebody telling you that I know if a train's coming in, I can see it. If I were blind, I could hear it. If I were deaf, I wouldn't be able to hear the announcements anyway. So what's the point? Yesterday it abandoned the case, and West London Magistrates Court ordered it to pay the council's legal bill. Well, essentially, we're paying the council's legal bill. Kensington's Cabinet Member for Environmental Health said, London Underground have been intransigent and shown a lack of community spirit worthy of the worst excesses of public sector bureaucracy. They had a lot of opportunities to fix the system without going to court. But, like I said, they don't care. It's not their money. In response to the ruling, TfL said, we have implemented various changes to limit disruption to residents from the PA system. Well, why didn't you just do that in the first place, you Burks? Some people, really. It's like, give them a uniform and a peak cap and they're off. Am I right, Rog?
You are right.
Richmond. Hello, Leslie.
Hello there.
Leslie.
I just wonder how many of these people that give these things about not talking in a car have had children in the back of it.
Right.
Where you set off on a journey.
Yeah.
You explain to them it's going to be a long time, etc., etc. 10 minutes in the journey. Oh, you there yet, Mummy?
Mm-hmm.
And that continues for the whole journey.
Well, you want
so
to
you
leave
have to try and make games up for them, which I got excellent at, distracting them.
Games like what?
Singing at roundabouts and things like that, round and around the mulberry bush and all that sort of nonsense. Anything to stop them asking me if we're there yet.
Yes. You want to turn around and give them a slap, Leslie.
Oh, no, dear,
No,
that
like I
doesn't do
said.
any good. Then they cry. I tell you, it's amazing. I tell you another thing that annoys me now. Buses. Our local bus
Yeah.
now has a sign that goes up telling me where we're going to. Now, this is a local bus, so we all know where we're going to. But they not only do that, they tell us as well.
What, while you're on the bus itself?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We get all these instructions.
Like you're an idiot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, one that got me, they tell me about one place, and I've lived in the area where I live in Richmond for, oh, God knows, I'm not going to tell you how many years. I never knew it was called Stag's Place. I haven't got the faintest idea. It's a little alleyway that goes down the side of a pub.
Right. Well, it's like an education taking a bus ride these days, Leslie. I've got to go, but thanks a lot. All right. Cheers, my dear. 08456060973 if you want to talk to Clive, who will be on next. Oh, you didn't get to do your little party piece about what we talked about tonight. And you wrote it all down diligently, too. What a waste of effort. You might as well not have shown up. Clive's next. LBC.
Ding dong, I say, look